Alright, so what I'm going to be talking about today is we're going to be working on our backup onto a platform. First things you want to make sure you have down is you want to make sure that you already have a solid backup, you have a solid follow through with your treat, and you want to have some items like a big book, or right now I have a sketch pad, as you can see that Aayla is almost sitting on. So I have that. You want something that's going to be small, that's going to be easy to back up on, because remember, if it's big they don't know where they're going to be stepping. And so something small that they can easily get over and it's not that much of a hassle for them is going to be the best thing that you want to start off with at least. You also want to make sure that they're familiar with the platform work, so you should already have your front feet working on a platform. They already have that down very well, so they're feeling confident with the platform and before we introduce this. So what we're going to go ahead and start out with is make sure you have a kibble, you have a clicker, or your marker word. For Ayla's treats, we just have her kibble because that's the best thing that she works for the best and she enjoys the most, so that's what we use. So the first thing we're going to do is you're just going to lead the pup over it. So you're going to start out, lead them over, and as soon as one of the back feet gets on, you're going to go ahead and click. You don't have to expect both feet right at the same time. You just want them to understand that they want to get a back foot on it. And if they keep their back foot on, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep rewarding here for putting that on. You just want it to be a really positive association with putting that back foot onto whatever platform you have. So then I'm going to go ahead and lead her completely over. Come in. Good girl. And then we'll lead her over again. And then she's going to have back feet on. She has both of those there, so I'm going to go ahead and reward her a couple times for that. And sometimes this will take a couple times. Sometimes the dogs won't stay, but you still want to reward for even just having their foot just touching it for a second. And then you're just going to keep going over. And so just keep those treats kind of coming. So eventually they'll kind of stop on that platform because they realize as long as their back feet are on there, you're going to reward. But if Aayla was to move and step off, she wouldn't get any of the treats. And so if it's only for a second, only give one treat. If they step on it, then they step off really quick. But if they're going to step on it continuously, that's when you want to keep rewarding. So you're going to do this several times until they start to understand and get their back feet on really quick and try to get both feet on. If you start out and you're only able to get one back foot on, you're just going to work for a while. You're going to kind of play a little bit with it. So if you're able to get one foot on, you're going to kind of go back and forth with your hand until you get them to get both feet on. And as soon as they do, you want to click or say your marker word and reward. And for the backup part, at the touch, we're going to go ahead and move this a bit so you guys can see it easier. We're going to start off with the dog not facing. Have them up against the wall. Sometimes you can even use yourself as a block so they're going straight. And this is when you use your word back. And as soon as, once again, one foot touches the top of that, you're going to go ahead and reward. And if you get 2 feet, you're going to reward as long as there's 2 feet are on there for at least a couple of seconds. So that way, that's where they want to be. So you're going to go ahead and lure them off. And then you're going to go back. And as soon as the back feet are on, go ahead and reward. Then lower off. And then back, back, back. Good. And sometimes it's going to take a lot of time. You're going to have to lure the back. They're going to balk at the back of it, so you're going to have to kind of move their head around a bit with it. Kind of wiggle them around until they try to step. And even if they just touch it, it doesn't even have to be a firm like push down or a firm step up. They could just touch it with their back foot, and that's when you want to go ahead and click and reward. And after a while, they'll try and start touching it with their back foot, and then you'll kind of be a little more persuasive with the back part. And when they're on, you're going to go ahead and click. And you don't want to add in a cue word until later, until they're reliably back, back, on top of it. Sometimes you don't even have to. They can just understand that when you say back, they have to try and go back, doesn't matter what. I like using a cue word, so I use for rear. I have front for her front feet and rear for her back feet, which she already knows, so she's going to go ahead and use. Rear. And then after they get this solidly, so they're at this point where it's rear, where they have the cue down and they're stepping back reliably. Touch, touch. You're gonna go ahead and change it out with something a little bit bigger. I have a box here. The only thing I don't like about this is the box itself is kind of small. It's a little taller, but it's also kind of smaller, so it was a little hard for her to... Oh, it's just sirens. She had a hard time figuring out how to step onto it because she could step around it really easy. So I'd advise something a little bit bigger if you can. But if not, if you can work through with something like this size, then that can work. Aayla. So once again, you're just going to back up. Once again, if they sit, just lure them forward again. And you can lure them back. So right now, Aayla just got one foot on. And another thing is if they keep backing towards you and backing around it, instead of actually going on it, you can just angle your hand. So angle your hands so they're this way. So it kind of moves their butt around. Because if you think about it, when you move their head, you can change where their body goes. Where their butt goes a little bit. So if it's here, I can kind of keep her butt going the other way by twisting her head away. Yes. So... And another thing you can do is if they continue to step off, you can put your body completely to the side and act like a block. And just go back. And once you get that one foot on, you're going to click and reward. And then eventually after a while, you're just going to ask for a little bit farther back. And when they get both feet on, you're going to do just like the same I did with the sketch pad and just reward for their back feet being on. And so for a while, you can start to teach them stay with this so they kind of have a place where they're going to learn not to go. After a while, you can start to teach a pivot, which we are currently working on. Right there. Right there. And so, she's keeping her back feet on the place, which is not very easy. She's not quite understanding it yet. Yes. Remember, you just have to take these things in small steps. And you just want to reward a lot for keeping their feet on as well. Okay, and that's going to be your backup onto a platform step. Free. Good job.